Impact segment tonight, the truth about race. The primary reason the African American community is struggling in some areas is because of the family. Now, the left will tell you it's because of white privilege, racism, lack of funding from the feds, all of that. But over the years at The Factor, we've challenged that stuff, placing much of the blame for social and economic chaos on the collapse of the African American traditional family. A new report by the Marriage and Religion Research Institute says the following: 17% of black youth ages 15 to 17 are growing up with both biological parents. 17%. It's an all-time low. Overall, in the USA, 46% of American teens 15 to 17 are in homes now, right now, with their biological parents. Another all-time low. Now, that kind of turbulence for a child makes it more difficult for kids to compete with children from stable homes. Then you add anger and poverty and bad neighborhoods, all of that. But again, stable homes can overcome many social problems. And joining us now from New York, Andrea Tantaros, and here in Los Angeles, Leslie Marshall. Now, you know I'm right that the collapsing African American family is ground zero for all of the other social problems: poverty, drug addiction, child abuse. You know I'm right.
I'm not going to disagree with you,
okay,
and you are right. I even have some stats to back you up.
But we don't need them. Okay. So I'm glad you know. Why then is the black activist community totally avoiding this issue and the media totally avoiding it? Why?
Well, first of all, I think the reason that you don't see the Al Sharptons or the Jesse Jacksons standing up and talking about this issue is, one, I don't think they think that the media would cover it. I think that the media and Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, consider, if you will, a cop killing a kid a sexier topic, for one. Two, I think that although the community realizes this is a problem, it's become a norm. It's generational. And they don't consider it as important a deal, a priority, as Michael Brown in Ferguson, Eric Garner on Staten Island.
It's just horrifying if what you're saying is true, and I can't generalize about the African American community, but they don't feel that that's priority number one. That
I don't
17% of 17%.
I don't believe so, because it's a pattern that generations
Belief is
keep
one
repeating.
thing, facts are the other. We don't have facts to back that up. What do you say, Andrea?
Look, I think it's an uncomfortable conversation, but the reason that they don't do it is because if they fix the problem, then they'd be out of a job.
Okay, but it's an uncomfortable conversation for whom?
I think the media. I think the media has a hard time because I think that it's discussed sometimes on African American websites or black websites, but in traditional media, they don't want to talk about the inconvenient truths that you just mentioned. They don't want to go there, Bill. They're not comfortable talking about those things.
And is it because they have white liberal guilt? Is it because they think that white privilege has destroyed the African American community, a family, which is insane because in 1960, it was 3 times better than it is now. And it was way more racism back then. But I'm really upset by this, and I'll tell you why. I talked to a friend of mine's son who teaches in Brooklyn, all black school, Brooklyn, New York, all black school. Okay? He recently got attacked in the classroom. Black kid attacked him. Principal wouldn't back him up. The usual. And I say to him, when you're a parent-teacher at night, all right, and kids are doing poorly, he sends notes home. Please come and talk to me. They don't show up. They don't show up. They don't even come in. Now, this is one school, high school, Brooklyn, New York. You're not going to tell me that doesn't happen all across the United States in certain neighborhoods.
I agree that it happens across the United States in certain neighborhoods, and it certainly happens much more in the African American community. But this is a problem across all communities, Bill.
It is.
We have less and less people getting married. We have more and more people having 3 babies with 3 baby daddies out of wedlock.
But it's 46% to 17%.
Correct. But
so that's why the kids can't compete in the marketplace. That's why. It has nothing to do with white privilege.
No, I do think that the privilege and lack of opportunity, education, the schools not being as good play into that.
Have education.
But
Andrea,
if Al Sharpton speaks out about it, or Jesse Jackson, that's not going to make a difference.
Polite conversation, blank him. All right, Andrea, you get the last word.
Well, Bill, you asked why the media doesn't cover this. One, they would have to expose a lot of the policies that have kept the black community down, so they don't do it. And also, I think there's a fear that if they delve into these issues, they're going to be called racist. Really? I mean, I think a lot of these white reporters don't want to touch some of these topics
That's a given.
out of fear, and so they report what's easier because they're lazy and they don't want to do the tough reporting and they don't want to expose the truth. Let me tell you something. Leslie is right. It is a problem, yes, disproportionately in the black community, but it's affecting the white community for two reasons as well. They demean fathers. This country demeans dads, which are pretty darn important in this country and the world, and also single motherhood. They glorify single motherhood. You've talked about this a lot, and it's the fastest way to poverty. It's the hardest job in the world, but it's the quickest way to poverty, and it's cyclical, as Leslie said. If girls don't make their men at home man up and be fathers, and men don't man up, it's cyclical. And girls who grow up without fathers, they're not gonna hold their men deadbeats. This happens. It's not a black problem or a white problem. It's a human problem.
It is a growing problem in all precincts, but it's exacerbated on the African-American level by dishonesty, by giving excuses for failure when we really all know the problem. Ladies, very good debate. Thank you.
Thank you.